What's up? My name's Paul, and in this video, I'm gonna break down metabolic adaptation. So if you've ever asked yourself, why did I lose the weight and then gain it back after a successful diet? Or maybe you're wondering why you're in a plateau right now when your diet was going so successful. Or maybe you just ask yourself questions like, is my metabolism broken? Is my metabolism damaged? Or am I in starvation mode? This video is gonna answer those questions, and you'll see how we work with clients in the E4Fit method to help them restore their metabolism, increase their calories so that they're able to then successfully maintain the weight that they lost, or then go into a weight loss phase again, but be much more successful in the long term. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Be sure and hit the subscribe button if you like content around training, nutrition, recovery, and mindfulness. That's what this channel is about, and that's what the E4Fit method is about. So here we go, let's dive into it. So one of the first beliefs that you need to have, and really the principle that you need to subscribe to, is the calories in, calories out model. And below this video in the description, I got 26 different references that emphasize and prove this model as basically what is responsible for weight loss and weight gain. So calories in, calories out, if you're not familiar with it, is basically energy expenditure in. So let's say that's 2,500. And if you are above that 2,500 number as your maintenance, you will gain weight. So 2,800, consistently over that 2,500 number, is gonna lead to weight gain. If you're at 2,300, which isn't that big of a deficit, but let's just use number's sake, you will eventually lose weight. And if you're at 2,500, well, that is maintenance. So you'll maintain weight. So if you extrapolate this out over the course of a week, well, that might be 2,500. We'll just use 2,000 times 7, 14,000 calories. If you're above that 14,000, weight gain. If you're around 14,000, give or take, maintain your weight. And if you're below, you'll lose weight. Now there's a lot more context to this around food quality, around hormones, and basically the ability to sustain these numbers. And this is what metabolic adaptation is. But in order to understand metabolic adaptation, you gotta understand weight loss happens in a calorie deficit, weight gain happens in a calorie surplus, and weight is going to maintain when maintenance calories and intake are about the same. So at a really high level, metabolic adaptation is the process by which the body alters how efficient it is at turning your food into energy. And it's really important to understand that our biology hasn't had an update, just like you get your Google Chrome update or your iOS update. If you look at how the body was in the year 1500 or in the year 500 AD or in the year 2050, right, in the future, the body's not gonna change. We have complex biological processes that have existed during all this time. And it's just in the last really 20 years where we've been exposed to more social media, more stress, less movement, and things that are really impacting your body's ability to maintain, relax, and not be overly stressed. So when we go and look at how the body wants to utilize energy, it comes from a perspective of there's gonna be times when there is a bountiful amount of food, plenty of food. So let's just say during times of feast, your body's going to store. Well, there's also gonna be times of famine. And this time of famine is gonna be when your metabolic adaptation is going to be really beneficial. It's ultimately gonna be what helps you survive and utilize the lower amounts of energy that's coming into your body. So when you look at how this is happening from a biological standpoint, this is a good thing. Metabolic adaptation isn't something that's bad, but your metabolism doesn't care about your likes, doesn't care about your abs, doesn't care about these vanity metrics that we've come to adopt, especially with social media. It just wants you to be able to reproduce, right? Cells are live things, live organisms. They want to be able to stay alive and reproduce. And ultimately your body wants to survive. So when you consider how much more available food is, there really isn't a time, especially in Western civilization, where you're gonna have to worry about famine because you can go right down the street and grab whatever food you want. So the next term we wanna break down here at a high level is just total daily energy expenditure, or TDEE. And within that is 4 different things that is contributing to how many calories your body burns. So first we've got BMR, your basal metabolic rate, and this is what your body burns just to keep the lights on. If you lay on the couch or lay in bed and do not move an inch, you're still gonna burn calories. Your organs are burning calories, your brain's burning calories, your body has to stay alive and have basic biological processes and functions in order for you to do everything to stay alive, which is important. From there, you have your NEAT, or your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is everything beyond just laying on the couch. So right here, this is neat. If I were to go for a walk, that's neat. This is all movement, and it takes energy to move your body. Think about you being a machine. It takes energy, and the cells are using energy in the form of calories in order to do everything, in order for my brain to process the words that I'm saying. So the more active you are, simple things like walking, doing laundry, the more calories you're gonna burn over a long period of time. Then you have TEF, thermic effect of food. So it takes your body energy, it takes your digestive system specifically energy to break down protein, fats, carbohydrates, and your body's gonna be a lot more efficient, or it's easier for the body to digest fats and carbs. But when you have a high protein diet, that's gonna lead to an additional 20 to 30% additional calories burnt. Then from here, you have your exercise activity thermogenesis, also known as EAT. So that is the movement in addition to what your body would be burning in BMR, NEAT. So that's gonna be your lifting weights, going for a sprint. And a lot of people look at this as, oh, this is where I need to burn calories. But this is only, for someone who's working out an hour in a day, not like an athlete or doing anything crazy, training for the Olympics, that's at max 10% of the calories you burn throughout the rest of the day. BMR is gonna be 60%, we'll just use easy numbers here. NEAT, 15%, and then I think this leaves 75, boom. So this is another 15%. This might even be higher, I'd say, but it's also ultimately gonna depend by the individual. So the BMR, the way I like to think about that is the health and how functional your cells and your system is. So a down-regulated or dysfunctional body is going to be less active at utilizing energy. So when you look at being in a calorie deficit for a really long time, or being really stressed, not getting good nourishment from a food standpoint, not getting nutrients, not getting movement, not getting good sleep, not getting sunlight, that's what the cells want. The cells speak a specific language, and they are coded to a specific pattern of waking up when the sun comes up, going to bed when the sun goes down. Cells need certain nutrients in order to be able to do their job. Cells respond to movement. Cells want the sunlight. Cells need sleep. They have a circadian rhythm. So when you disrupt that, you disrupt this number here. When you're no longer getting enough energy, the body's gonna downregulate right here. There's a couple other processes that are gonna lead to metabolic adaptation, which let's get into right here. All right, so the 4 reasons why your metabolism is going to adapt and downregulate are these right here. So you're gonna have a lower NEAT, and it's gonna happen at the subconscious level, but as you decrease energy, as you decrease the availability of calories for the body to use, your brain is gonna subconsciously downregulate movement. You're gonna talk slower, you're gonna fidget less, and you're not gonna notice it, but your brain's gonna start to rationalize why you shouldn't get up and go and do the dishes, why you shouldn't get up and go get the remote control, why you shouldn't go walk and get the mail, and why you can do it the next day. And that's all going to lead to you moving less, which is gonna lead to you spending less energy. Then you have a decrease in mass. So a 250-pound individual is going to require more energy than a 200-pound individual. It's like having a Toyota Tundra, a RAV4, and a Toyota Prius. The Prius is more fuel efficient. The Toyota Tundra requires more fuel. So bigger humans require more energy. It makes sense that as you lose weight, you're not gonna need as many calories to do everything that we just talked about in the total daily energy expenditure. Next, you're gonna see some indirect hormone reduction. You're gonna see a decrease in testosterone, you're gonna see a decrease in leptin, which is stored in fat cells and then communicates to the brain, says, hey, we've got the supplies we need, we don't need any more food, we don't need any more energy. As you lose fat, you have less leptin being communicated to the brain saying that. Then you're gonna see a dysregulation, or not dysregulation, a downregulation of thyroid. You're gonna see an uptake of cortisol, and you're going to see an increase in ghrelin, which is in the stomach and communicating to the brain saying, hey, we need more food, we need more supplies, we need more energy for the cells, we need more nutrients. So you're gonna get hunger signals saying, hey, give us some more food. Last but not least, you got a decrease in power output. Your ability to exert force in the gym is going to be less as you become a smaller human. You're gonna have less muscle glycogen, so you're not gonna have as much fuel and energy for the muscles to go and be as strong and produce as much force. And so what's also happening here is, let's say you're a runner and you go on a 60-minute run. When you are 250 pounds and you haven't run a lot, that's a lot for the brain to solve, but it gets more efficient. The metabolism gets more efficient at solving that equation. So if you've been doing a ton of cardio for years and years and years, your brain, your body's gotten really efficient at solving that equation. So what used to burn 400, 500 calories on maybe a Peloton now only burns 350 because the body has gotten better at solving that equation. All right, so the two big questions, why do you plateau and why do you gain weight back? So we're gonna use a little bit of charts here. So let's say this is month one. This is your maintenance calories. This is what is required to just have you maintain your weight. And we'll say this is 2,500 and this is 2,000 calories. This is that deficit that you put yourself in. So a 500 calorie deficit, you're now seeing weight loss, right? So 500 calorie deficit, 2,500 to 2,000. Then we go month two, boom, boom. Maintenance for your body to maintain its weight has now started to adapt. 2,300, you're still eating 2,000 calories, so you're still seeing some weight loss. Boom, it's not as fast, but you're still seeing it. Then we get to month three. Well, now you've lost weight, metabolism's adapted, 2,000 calories, which used to be a deficit, is now maintenance. You're now not in a calorie deficit anymore. That's how your metabolism is adapting, and that's why you're not losing the weight. So what most people do in this scenario is in month three, or month four rather, they go, okay, well, I'll just decrease calories, 1,500. So now they've gone from 2,500 calories to maintain weight. Now they're eating 1,500 calories, and that metabolism the whole way as you're losing weight is saying, all right, like, I'll do what I gotta do to meet you where you're at and adapt to the energy that you're gonna give me. It's kind of saying, all right, this is the hand that I'm dealt. This is eventually what I'm gonna go and figure out how to use this hand to the best of my ability. But as you're doing this, right, depending on your overall health and depending on how much fat you've lost and how much fat you still have to lose, this is where you start to play this funny game of, right, are different functions in the body, are different systems in the body no longer getting the energy that they need? Is the brain down regulating the function of maybe your libido, your menstrual cycle, your sleep cycles? How are those being impacted as you decrease energy over and over and over and over? Because the body needs that fuel, it needs that energy to survive. So that's why you plateau. Now let's look at why you gain the weight back. So let's continue on this trajectory of 2,000 calories, 1,500 calories. We'll say this is month one. So 2K, 1.5K. All right, month one, you're in that deficit, you're losing weight. Then you start to plateau, 1.5K, 1.5K. So what happens? Well, most people in month after that, they say, all right, fine, I'll eat 1,000 calories. And this is really where you start to get into issues because you really are not giving the body the energy that it needs to exercise, to be in a good sleep pattern, to have a menstrual cycle, to have a libido, to not have huge cravings. Cravings is a sign of your brain and your body saying, we need food. And so there's gonna be times in a weight loss phase where, yeah, you gotta have a little bit of discipline, a little bit of willpower, but biology is always gonna beat willpower. So when you get into this situation, and this is where a lot of people get, especially after having spent a lot of time dieting, yo-yo dieting, and just constantly playing this calories in, calories out game and not looking at the bigger picture. Well, let's say you lose the weight that you wanted. You lost the 20 pounds, you lost 30 pounds. Then in month four, you go back to eating the 2,500 calories that you're having earlier in the video. But your metabolism is set at, kind of messed up these charts, but you get the point. Your metabolism set at, let's say 1,300. That's now a 1,200 calorie surplus. And maybe that's a little bit extreme, and as you increase these calories, the metabolism's adapting, but it's not gonna be able to adapt 800 calories, 700, 600, 500 calories as you reintroduce more food. Not at the rate at which it adapted over these months of being in that deficit or over these years of chronically yo-yo dieting. So you gain that weight back because you've adapted down, reintroduced less exercise, reintroduced eating poorly. You'd stop doing what was making you successful. And it's not to say that you should eat a calorie deficit all the time, but the healthier foods that maybe you're eating during that time, maybe all of a sudden you're like, I can have, an extra bagel, I can have an extra muffin, I can have an extra slice of pizza, I can have an extra beer, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, you start to change your habits on top of just having a higher volume of food. So that's where you run into issues there and gain the weight back. Then back here, you gain your weight, and we just go right back this thing. Come back up, come over, and this is that yo-yo cycle that a lot of people get into. So lastly, I'm gonna give you 2 strategies to mitigate this response so that you can go about your diet a little bit healthier and so that you can reverse diet and not gain the weight back, or at least not gain as much weight as you would gain back, so you can maintain the physique that you have, but bring your maintenance calories up a little bit higher. So first thing we're gonna look at is what you'd wanna do as you're dieting down. So let's say this is at 2,500 and you go in your 2,000 calorie deficit. Well, if you look at it over the course of a week or over the course of 3 to 4 weeks, you're gonna wanna take time where you come out of that diet break and you do a refeed, where you basically go back to maintenance calories. And this might be for 48 to 72 hours, or this might be from 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 10 days, right? And so if this is, let's just say week 1 through 3, then week 4, and a lot of times this lines up with a vacation, some travel, something where it makes sense to go into a little bit more of maintenance, but instead you go 2,300 has adapted to become maintenance, so you eat 2,300, right? And this could be, like I said, for 48 hours, so 2 days, or if you're looking at this from a week level, and maybe this is instead Monday through Friday, we're not going all the way total cheat meal, totally crazy on the weekends, but you're just bringing yourself back up to maintenance. So Monday through Friday, 2 days at maintenance, or you just do week 1 through 3, and then maybe you do a week here at maintenance. Either way, it's basically this concept of going down. Think about scuba diving, snorkeling. You go down underwater, come back up, down underwater, come back up. And while you're doing this, you're getting couple different effects. 1, you're giving your hormones a chance to regulate, reset. 2, you're giving your body, and really just maybe you, a little break from dieting, and you get that chance to say, okay, cool. Like that was, a little bit more willpower discipline than I wanted for 5 days, but I did it, come back up, maintain weight, go back down. And is this a slower, more sustainable approach? Yes, well, let's break that out. Is this a slower approach versus just linearly going, yeah, it's a little bit slower, but it's more sustainable, it's more maintainable, and you're gonna have a much better time doing it. So then the next mitigation strategy, after you've lost the weight and you want to maintain that weight but bring your calories back up, it's gonna be a reverse diet. So let's say you're here, 1,500 calories, and you're at, let's just say 150. 150 pounds, 1,500 calories in maintenance, you're gonna wanna get out of that deficit as soon as possible. But you're not gonna go back to what you're eating when you started that deficit. So maybe you started the deficit at 2,500, or you started the diet at 2,500. I would shoot for something that's a little bit more, 70, 75, 80% of that. So quick math off the top of my head, let's just say is 2,000 calories. So this 1,500 calories is your deficit calories, where maybe maintenance was 1,800, or not 1,800, now 2,000. So you're going to bring calories back up to here, right? But as this happens, you're going to want to slowly keep an eye on what your weight's doing. And so will you gain maybe a little bit of weight during this time if done right? Yeah, totally. But you're looking at, from a conservative standpoint, 0.2% of your body weight a week, a little bit more moderate, a little bit more aggressive, looking at 0.5, 0.8% of your body weight a week. But then from here, each week, so long as biofeedback's good, so long as performance good, you're looking at 150.5 maybe. But now you're at 2,050 calories, right? Your metabolism is gonna start to adapt up. Now you go from here, maybe your weight's at 151, but you're bringing it up to 2,100. So you're basically saying, all right, let's get out of this deficit, let's get back to maintenance, but it's a new adjusted maintenance. And you wanna just look, if you put on a ton of weight, pull the calories down. If you're still losing weight, increase more calories, most likely from carbohydrates, but just bring calories up so that you're able to maintain weight, and then slowly introduce a little bit more food so that you're slowly, as slow as you can, introducing more weight. And keep in mind, you're not just gonna all of a sudden put on a ton of fat. You're gonna have a little bit more fluid, you're gonna have a little bit more carbohydrates, more muscle glycogen. That's gonna bring in more water. So you're gonna see a little bit of weight bump, but you're not gonna just put on 3 pounds of fat because you introduce your body back to maintenance. Your body's just probably gonna be a little bit more full of things that are not fat. So then from here, you just play this game of bringing it up as much as you can while trying to maintain a very slow weight gain. And keep in mind, as you're doing this, you're looking at measurements, you're looking at performance, you're looking at sleep, you're looking at stress levels, and you're just making sure that everything is getting better while making sure that weight is staying as maintained as possible. Now you're gonna see it go up a little bit. Some people see it go down, and I've seen that happen, but that's typically gonna be someone who their metabolism's just hyper responding to them increasing calories, and they're finding themselves in a calorie deficit. Maybe they start walking more, maybe they start training harder, maybe they're sleeping better, and all these things are playing a role. But as you're doing this reverse diet, you're just trying to get yourself out of that low calorie intake that you've been at without introducing a ton of excess weight, a ton of excess calories. And it does take, again, a little bit more of like a long-term approach and a long-term mindset. This is gonna be what sets you up for a long-term sustained result. And I got a couple of case studies linked in the description below to where you can go and look at how we did this for someone like Stacy, for someone like Grace, for someone like Emma. Right, I've done this with guys as well, but the big thing is don't just go from eating 1,200 calories and introducing 2,000, 2,500 calories, something that is just way over what maintenance would be. Otherwise, you're gonna end up gaining that weight back. That's all for now, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you got value out of this, or you know someone that would benefit from this information, be sure and share it with them. I do a lot more content also within the Mindful Muscle Facebook group and the Mindful Muscle podcast as well. So links below to subscribe to those or join that group and community. You can get Q&A questions asked. Got a few different resources and trainings and the Mindful Muscle mini courses in there as well. And if you wanna learn more about coaching and wanna just hop on the phone with someone on our team, click the link below and apply for a advisory call, and we'll talk you through your challenges, your goals, walk you through what the program would look like. It's a 16-week program, and we're here to just figure out if it's a good fit for you and ultimately the goals that you have for your health and fitness. If you enjoy the content on this channel and wanna get more around training, nutrition, recovery, and mindfulness, ding the little notification bell, subscribe, hit the like button, and you'll be notified every single time a new video drops. But that's all for now. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next video.